Hey there, Math 1010 students. Welcome to week 8 of our course. Let's talk about our announcements for this week. So first up, you have made it to midterm. We are halfway through this class. So this is a 16-week course. It's a one-semester course, and we are in week 8, so that means we are halfway through. I want to remind you that this is a 16-week semester, so there is no quarter deadlines. I am not giving you any quarter grades. There are no midterm grades, nothing like that. We are just plowing through to 16 weeks. So if you're a part-time student or even a student at Mountain Heights, you might be hearing about the end of the quarter coming up soon. That does not affect us. Okay, we have no quarter deadlines. We are just moving straight forward through 16 weeks of this. All right. Spring break is on the horizon. It's getting closer. So this is when Mountain Heights Academy takes our spring break, and that is when we are scheduling our break in this class. If you have a different spring break with your local school, that's great for you. But this is when the spring break is for this class. And so take this spring break from Math 1010. All right. And work around your schedule otherwise. If you have conflicts, if you're going out of town or traveling or things like that, for a different spring break week, then let me know if that's going to affect your turning in assignments on time. All right. Test is next week. So that's an important one, right? So if you have a spring break week next week, that could be a problem if you're going out of town. So next week we have the chapter 5 and 6 test. The testing window will be next Wednesday through Sunday, and it has to be completed in that window. So make sure that you're going to be able to get it done. Okay, that is our announcements for the week. Here's your suggested schedule. This is a very heavy, important week. As I've mentioned before, chapter 6 and really chapter 7, these are the most important chapters that we cover in this class, and they're the most difficult ones too because we are learning a lot of strategies for factoring. You learned 2 strategies for factoring last week. And then as we wrap up chapter 6 this week, you're going to learn the remaining strategies for factoring and how they apply to help us solving polynomials. All right. So these are the assignment titles for the sections that you're doing this week. So you can see that we're factoring trinomials that have an A term in the front. We're factoring trinomials by grouping, which is maybe a new method that you haven't seen. We'll see. We're learning how to factor binomials and perfect square trinomials. These are on your formula sheet. Let's pull it up here. Here's perfect square trinomials, difference of squares, difference of cubes, and sum of cubes. Those are all covered this week. So your formula sheet is very helpful to remind you about what those factoring strategies are, but it takes a lot of practice to get good at them. So focus hard this week and study well is my advice. These are the different strategies that you will be learning for factoring. And like I had mentioned, we've learned 2 so far. So we've learned how to factor out a common factor from each of the terms, right? So that's always step number 1. Always factor out a common factor if you can. And then we've also learned how to factor polynomials in this form where there's no leading A term. So these ones we should be very, very good at. Then we're going to learn 4 more strategies for factoring polynomials. My suggestion to you is that you write a page in your notes that looks maybe something like this with these 6 example problems, so that you have an example that clearly shows you each of the 6 strategies for factoring. Okay, because like I said, it's very important to keep all of these straight. So that's my suggestion for you. I have another picture of this in the weekly task in case you want to see it there. But that's it for me this week. Good luck with your weekly tasks. Good luck with your assignments. Reach out if you want to study with me or do problems with me. I would love to. Math is my favorite, and you guys are my favorite. So reach out if you need me, and have a great week. Bye.